8th graders, this is lesson 5.3, angles of triangles. You need to look in your composition book at the lesson. If you'll notice, it says a triangle is formed by 3 line segments that intersect only at their endpoints. What it's saying is when you have a triangle, that the only places it touches are right here at the corners. Whoops. If it doesn't meet at the corners, then it's not truly a triangle. The other thing it tells you is that these points where it touches or crosses are called vertex if there's one of them, or vertices if there are 2 or more. The other thing that it tells you is every triangle has 3 angles, which we saw in the picture just a minute ago, but it also tells you that the sum of the angles of any triangle equals 180 degrees. Remember, sum means what you get when you add. If you look at number 1, you've got a triangle that looks kind of like this, and it tells you that this angle is 82, and that this angle is 75, and this angle is x. Well, based on the rule that we just saw, that means that the 75-degree angle plus the 82-degree angle plus the angle we don't know has to equal 180. Well, just like when we were solving equations, you would add the 75 and 82 together, which is 157 plus x equals 180. Now, subtract the 157 from both sides, and x will equal 23 degrees. Okay, if you will look at number 2, the temptation is to say, well, miss, you only gave me 2 angles because it has that little square in the corner. That square, as we learned in the lesson before, indicates that that's 90 degrees. So we would have the same problem. It would be the angle we don't know, x, plus 90 plus 43 equals 180. Add the 2 angles we know, so 90 plus 43 is 133. Then you can subtract 133 from both sides. So x equals 47 degrees. I want you to also notice, let me see if I can get a different color pen, that the 47 plus the 43 equals 90. And if you'll remember from our lesson on angles, 2 angles that add together to equal 90 are called complementary because the C is what makes the 9. There is one other triangle we need to look at in the examples. If you'll look at number 5, we've got the same situation we just had, and there's two marks like that on the sides. That means that those sides are congruent. When the sides are congruent like that, 2 sides are congruent, that is called an isosceles triangle. And this lesson also wants you to look at the types of triangles, but we'll do that on another slide. But this tells you that this angle is 45, and it's asking you for that angle. There's two different ways. You can either say 45 plus 90 plus x equals 180, like we did on 1 and 2, or you can say 45 plus x equals 90. But when you solve either one of those, x is 45 degrees. Okay, there is another kind that is not in the notes that you have in your composition book that says that the angles are in the ratio of 3x to 5x to 7x. What they're describing is a triangle whose angles are multiplied by the same number. So you would solve that by saying 3x plus 5x plus 7x, and three angles of a triangle always equal 180. 3x plus 5x plus 7x gives us 15x equals 180. Now divide by 15. So x equals 12. But we're not through because we have to multiply each of the angles by x. So we'd have 3 times 12, which is 36 degrees for the smallest, 5 times 12, which is 60 degrees for the next smallest, and 7 times 12, which is 84 degrees for the largest. You can also make sure that you've done the math correctly, because these three should still add up to 180 degrees, and they do. The three types of triangles are isosceles, where at least two sides of the triangle are congruent. The second kind is called scaling, which means no two sides are congruent. And the third type is called equilateral. The equa indicates that equal, this is where all three sides are equal or congruent. You can also classify triangles by the angles. So you can have an acute triangle, which means all angles are less than 90. Most students remember that because if you think about a cute little puppy, then they're little, so that means the angles are little. A right triangle, which has one right angle, which means it's 90 degrees. And the third kind is an obtuse triangle, where one angle is greater than 90 degrees. Okay, I think you will be able to do your homework from there. That should be all the information you need, and we'll review tomorrow.